everybody. Welcome back. This is Space Exploration News, where we bring you the latest and greatest from the final frontier without the hype. I'm your host, Carlos Munoz Kampf, and this week was a tough one not to have hype because, um, we had the Starship launch. Which was really amazing, and then some new findings with like these cool black hole um, suns that we're gonna solar stars that we're gonna talk about, and then some new announcements from NASA as well. But of course, the biggest news is Starship and everything that happened there. But let's break it down. Um, so here we go. So first of all, NASA has shared the first Moon to Mars architecture concept review results. The review was conducted to ensure that NASA's plans for exploring the Moon and Mars are feasible and sustainable. The review covered topics such as transportation, habitats, and life support systems. So you can read that article here. I'll make sure to link it in there. Um, but yeah, it's cool that they're getting more specific for the Artemis program and Artemis 2. We'll talk a little bit more about those programs in a minute. But it's just cool to see those first findings, and they'll be linked on the description. We'll update you more as that progresses as well. So just hear from NASA. But yeah, let's move on to news about the Johns Hopkins University. It looks like a black hole, what they found, right? It looks like a black hole and it bends light like a black hole. I'll show you a cool video about it. But it could actually be a new type of star. Though the mysterious object is a hypothetical mathematical construction, new simulations by Johns Hopkins researchers suggest there could be other celestial bodies in space hiding from even the best telescopes on Earth. And the reason why they might be hiding is because they suck the light back and forth, and there's this refractoring process. I don't know if that's what it's called, but let me show you the video here. It's pretty cool. So here's the black hole, and I don't know if you can hear the audio here, but yeah. So this is a disk, and it's not. My understanding is that it's not within the event horizon, but it's creating this phenomenon where the light kind of comes back in and out in a pattern, but does eventually escape. Um, so yeah, I don't fully understand this yet, but it's a cool finding. I'm gonna have to do a bit more research around that. But yeah, here we go. That's an article about that. Yeah, the object looks identical to a black hole, but there's light coming out from its dark spot. Huh, so interesting. So yeah, so it's not really a black hole. It's this, it might be a type of star. How would you tell when you don't have a black hole? We don't have a good way to test that. Studying hypothetical objects like topological solitons will help us figure that out as well. Okay, well, it's kind of going above my head here a little bit, so I'll just stop while I'm ahead. But again, I'm linking the article here in the script, so you can follow along with that. And then we're going to move on to, of course, the big news of this past week. Of course, there was a failed launch on Monday, meaning they didn't, they scrubbed the launch. They didn't launch on Monday this past week, but they did on 4/20 of all days launch the SpaceX Starship vehicle. And yeah, so they're saying, it's possible it could even touch down on the moon in 2022. I don't know how realistic that is. Um, and that the Starship, I mean, if you don't know what the Starship is, I'll show you images in a minute, but the Starship is the biggest um, rocket. It has two stages, right? The kind of rocket and the kind of spaceship part. But if you put it all together, it's almost 400 feet tall. It's taller than the Statue of Liberty, and this thing just took off and flew on Thursday. So we're going to go over that a little bit more. But the other significance of it, besides the size of it, it's not just for the sheer size. It's like how much carrying capacity it has, um, and the fact that they're hoping to use it with the Artemis program to land humans on the moon in 2025, and then eventually they want to use it to go to Mars as well. So this is the rocket, this is the spaceship that would enable all that to even happen. If this thing can't take off at all, then, well, all those things are going to be way delayed or have to be redone in a different way. So that's why it's so important that it did actually take off. But before we go to that launch, I want to take a look at this. Space.com has published an article that breaks down every SpaceX Starship explosion and what we learned from them. The article covers all the Starship explosions that have occurred so far and what SpaceX has learned from each one. So here's the article. Yeah, you can see some videos here and some cool videos. So this is, obviously it's not the first time this past Thursday that the rocket has launched at all. They've done many tests. So here's some footage of that. Just crashing over and over again. So there you go. So here's some other. Ooh, there was some other video here as well. There's been just many crashes and destructions with this. I thought it was kind of silly how there's some of the media, just wanted to characterize this as a failure and just say like, oh, it exploded. I'm like, yeah, of course it exploded. It's a brand new rocket that's taller than the Statue of Liberty, and they're trying to figure out how to make this thing fly, man. It's like, it's no joke. Um, so, yeah, lots of explosions in the base, all kinds of explosions. The same thing was true for Falcon 9 until they got it to work. And let me see if I can find the actual. So here's what it looks like taking off. But let's look at, this is the actual footage from the video if you didn't get to see it live. Like, I don't know if you can hear the crowd cheering, but people are going nuts with this thing. And you'll be able to see here that some of the engines are not working. Those engines not working was ultimately what caused it to fail. Oh, geez. Okay, I got an ad here. So it ultimately ended up failing and exploding, which was, was ultimately the downfall there. It basically started spiraling out of control and just exploded. Let me see if this ad goes by quickly so we can move on this. Sorry about that, folks. We're doing it live. Oh, here we go. And then here there should be a separation. So it didn't reach orbit, but I mean that's pretty high up there. And this is where it failed. There was supposed to be a stage separation, but for several reasons that And there's many videos that break down, what exactly went wrong. But part of it was some of those engines not working. I don't want to belabor a point that probably many people have talked about. Yeah, it starts spinning, and eventually it explodes. All right, folks. I did actually have more prepared for the show today, but I'm actually having some technical difficulties, so I'm gonna just call it quits. I tried to re-record this parts multiple times, but basically, yeah, it was. Even though the spaceship exploded, it's just still such an inspiration that it got as far as it